Hello and welcome to the Life and Fight of a podcast.
Okay.
This is a UFC and Submission Underground preview. Looking up to both events this weekend. Joined as always by Mr. Hive, Mr. Simon Price. How's it going, Si?
Yeah, good mate. Productive week. Like I was saying to you before in the little chat we had before we start recording. Been doing my walks every morning, kettlebell swings, push-ups. Like just got a routine going where I'm taking a bit more stock of my mental and physical health and
Good.
feeling good, mate. Like yourself?
Good to hear. Lazy one this morning, got up about an hour ago. Then started reviewing the two cards. But yeah, I'll probably have a productive day. Doing housework more than anything.
Yeah.
Been tearing walls down. We've had a structural engineering to get some stuff done. Stuff that was planned before lockdown, but we technically got time, so we're prepping it. But hey, one of them, innit? Try and get as much done as you can whilst you've got the time before everything
That's
starts
it.
going mental, which I don't know about you, but it feels like this week a lot of things are starting to pick up pace. Further restrictions getting lifted on the lockdown. The league has been, in Spain's been allowed to come back. Serie A's in talk of it yesterday with the Premier League. And then they've announced the FA Cup when the dates for that's going to come back in June. So I think you'll see things steadily increase.
Yeah.
It makes me more confident that gyms may open minimum of sort of around August time. Obviously, with things in place. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm like be the optimist. I'm hoping for July, but I'm not setting my hopes on it because we don't know what's going to happen and we don't know how the public's going to respond to these new rules that are in place. Because it was like quite a big announcement last night for everyone, with the 6 people being allowed to meet together from Monday, meeting in gardens, meeting more than one person at the same time. So it's quite a lot of change. And yeah, like you said, like I've noticed a lot of changes and a lot of things speeding up, like just in day to day. And it's just I'm just sort of excited to sort of see how things are going to start to move forward now that we're starting to come out the other end of this.
Of course. And it may be nothing to people, but you can tell my camera's sort of changed. My camera's same as Simon's usually, but it broke, so I'm back to my shit version. Hopefully that looks a bit better soon. So if you're listening, it's probably a lot better than watching at the minute, especially from my side. Simon's are beautiful as always. So this weekend we're lucky enough to have 2 events, Saturday and Sunday, which is great to keep you busy. Makes it feel more like a weekend because you sort of lose track of days unless you're putting the bins out on a certain day, then you know what day it is, which has been mine this morning. But the weekend, when you know when event's on, you sort of look forward to it. So Saturday is UFC, first event back in Las Vegas since the lockdown began 3 months ago, or give or take 3 months ago. That's at the Apex. Main evented by Woodley and Burns, and then on the Sunday, Submission Underground, which feels like we were only previewing and reviewing it yesterday, but it was like 4 weeks ago. That's headlines by Craig Jones and Vagner Rocha. 2 great
Vagner
headliners there,
Rocha.
Si.
Yeah, we've got Craig Jones and Vagner Rocha headlining. Yeah. Sorry, you went a little bit delayed there.
He's back. So 2 great. We'll start in order because obviously UFC is on Saturday, so we'll start with that one first. I quickly reviewed them. So what I'll do quickly, because most people might not know the prelims, we'll quickly touch on a couple of the fights, and then we'll go straight into the main card, which is a pretty good card from review. Maybe not notable names for for non-diehards, but there's some great fights on here. First one, Simon, what have you got at the bottom of the card? Have you got it up, Si?
Yeah, I've got. Sorry, just got the card up here, mate. Sorry, bit of a delay then in the
Audio.
the connection.
So
yeah, I've got the card here. Like, I'm really excited about seeing Woodley. Like, I'm not too familiar with a lot of the names on the card, if I'm being brutally honest. But I've been a big fan of Tyron Woodley for a while, and I'm sort of excited to see him back after his unfortunate loss to Usman.
Yeah, that was March 2019, so he's not fought for that long. What is it now, 14, 15 months, which is
Yeah.
very interesting. He's not really, since 2017, he's only had 2 bouts. He defended in 18 against Till. He defended in 19, or he didn't defend in 19 against Usman, lost the belt, and he's not been there since. So interesting to see what he comes back, because Gilbert has been quite active, even on the submission underground and the grappling scene. That guy will finish you if he gets you on the ground. I personally think, maybe we do this reverse and we go main event down. I personally think Woodley takes this by decision, or a quick first round knockout. I think he can stun Gilbert, but I think once you get out of the first round, I think Gilbert will start to get used to the pace. This is a big main event for him. I don't think he's main event in the UFC before. How do you think it'll go?
I've got Woodley winning this. I'd like to see a knockout from Woodley. As I know, he's got heavy hands. He can strike well and he can wrestle well. I can't see him attempting the takedown in Gilbert.
No, I don't see that either.
I don't think Gilbert's the most superior grappler, but I think Gilbert's got more tricks up his sleeves to finish the fight on the ground if it comes to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. With regards to Gilbert then, do you think he will constantly try and shoot for the takedown or to try and get the finish because he thinks that's the best? Or do you think he will try and stand in trade with Woodley?
I'm not too sure, if I'm honest with you. Like he's got his fair amount of decision wins and his and submission wins. So I don't know. Like he does try to take him down. It'll probably be either early on to start off with to make a statement, and probably as the rounds progress as they get tired. But I think Woodley's quite a tough person to take down. And
yeah, his defensive wrestling is unreal.
Yeah.
I feel like if the longer it gets into the fight anyway, I think it favours Woodley because he's been there 5 rounds, he's been champion, he's got durability. So I think Burns needs to either catch him with a strike, which I think he's got the power to do so, and stun him, which we've seen that plenty of times with upsets. But I think it's heavily favourite in Woodley's eyes, and I prefer a first round finish because I've got him as part of one of my roster like prediction things. So if he gets good points there, I'll go top of the table. There's money on the line. So we'll go co-main event. Blagoy Ivanov.
Before we move on to that bit there, I was about to say, I think one thing that may hinder Woodley's performance could be his distractions recently, as he's been pursuing a bit more of a music career, hasn't he? And his a career outside of the ring.
Yeah, acting and music. Yeah,
that may affect his focus for this fight. But
possibly.
With Gilbert being of the caliber of fighter he is, I don't think he's going to overlook it. He needs to make sure he focuses on this fight.
Yeah, maybe Gilbert's the more hungry one now. Maybe the hunger's gone from Tyron. We don't really know how it'll be there. It'll be very interesting because I guess this fight will sort of tell you where he's at. If he comes out and storms through Gilbert, you know he's looking back towards that belt. Or if he dominates him, you know he's looking back towards that belt. If not, then maybe his hunger's gone and Gilbert's looking like he might be the next one in towards that title, which is a very messy welterweight division right now. So co-main Blagoy Ivanov versus Augusto Sakai. So Ivanov was the World Series of Fighting heavyweight champion before he signed with the UFC, and Sakai's been around for quite a while now. It's a pick and fight. This. Obviously, I don't know if you know much about these two, Si.
Nothing about these two here, mate. Just the names.
I've quickly reviewed it this morning, and before when I seen the fight announced, I was leaning towards Ivanov, looking a bit deeper into it about what they've been doing recently, and reminding myself for the recent fights. I think I'll go with Sakai, just because of his durability within fights. It is a difficult one, that one, though. That could be a great fight and could be a good knockout between either one of them. Next, you've got Spike Carlisle and Billy Quantarillo, if you pronounce that right, Quarantillo. Sounds, should we call him Billy Quarantine right now?
Yeah, really quality.
This is an even more of a pick and fight in my eyes. Getting towards the main card when I was reviewing him, Spike's already fought this year. He did great in that, and I have my notes from them fights. I try and put notes in each of the fighters just so obviously when I'm previewing, I've got something to look back at. It could go either way. This fight, I have gone with Spike, but I think this could be fight of the night easily. It'd be very, very good. I'm sure Spike won by elbows and ground and pound in his last one. Quite exciting. Billy gets quite a lot of decisions, but can finish and does finish quite a lot. 13-2 against 9-1. Featherweights, obviously a fast pacer and can still hit very, very hard.
No, definitely. I think the featherweights as well, the way the division is at the moment, they quite like to go out there and put a statement on there because they're trying to get more eyes in the division. So looking forward to seeing these two go at it. And just on topology, the rankings are quite low. But I'm not going to sort of let that affect my judgment. I'm looking at the previous records and what they've done so far. I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform.
Yeah, I think, if I remember rightly, Spike looks a very, very big featherweight, but I mean, as in stocky, I don't think he's that tall. So I know he's got quite a lot of power. Whereas in Billy, I say it's a pick and fight, and I keep on going to change my mind. But when I'll probably put some bets on tomorrow. I'll probably review in a bit more detail than I have this morning, and I might change my mind. But right now, I think I'll lean towards Spike. Another one that I'm interested in. It's less of a pick and fight and more of a possibly another fight tonight, but more lead towards Brock Weaver. Is Roosevelt Roberts versus Brock Weaver. Brock, I'm sure, has already fought this year again. I think he fought in February. Let me just double check that. 15th of Feb, so a couple of weeks before the lockdown hit against Rodrigo Vargas. He was getting beat in that fight. Vargas then threw an illegal knee, so I didn't get to see much of him. But from my notes from last time, he's durable, likes to get in there, likes to just brawl, and I think he'll catch Roosevelt and probably finish him. But you'll just see how this goes. It's strange because if you look at the topology rankings, what you can see there, Simon, there's quite a big difference.
Yeah.
How do you see it going?
That's it. I think I'm swaying towards Roosevelt with this one. Just remembering from Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
And I remember enjoying watching him sort of fight. So I think I'm going to sway towards Roosevelt with this one. I think Brock's a bit more seasoned fighter.
Yeah.
But I think I'm swaying more towards Roosevelt.
Nice. Next one is a great fight right here. The up-and-coming Mackenzie Dern, which is a lot of people's favourites in the strawweight division, against Hannah Cyphers. She's already fought this year. She got beat by Angela Hill. Angela Hill, I think, has fought 3 times already this year. She's 2-1. And her only defeat was against Claudia Gadelha by split decision. I think it's 2 weeks ago. So no bad defeat there. Angela took her by decision, I'm sure that was. But Mackenzie Dern is different crop. She did get first defeat in her last outing, but she's stepping up in levels now. She'll start to see what fights will start to test her. So she's a girl that loves to be on the ground. She likes that submission. Si, what do you think? This is more probably your area.
If it ends up being a battle on the ground, I'm swaying towards Mackenzie. The only thing I would like to see her sort of display a bit more work on her hands, because there's people that are higher up in the ranks than her that have got much better hands and they can keep the fight standing. So if she's unable to take them down, where's that going to leave her?
Yeah, she has said in interviews that she does want to start working on her hands more. But I feel like someone as strong of a base on the ground as her, it would be very, very hard not to, unless you're really confident in your hands. Maybe someone like a Robbie Lawler, who's really good on the ground but would rather stand and trade with you. I think she will probably, once she probably gets hit, she'll probably try and take it down to the ground. And I see a submission victory here against Hannah. or maybe decision, but I do see Mackenzie taking the W on this one.
Yeah, I can see Mackenzie taking it. I'd like to see her take the more sort of Damian Maia route with it, or even the Khabib route, where she learns to strike behind her grappling.
Yeah,
so she can set takedowns up nicely. She's got the threat of the takedown, so it makes the more predominant striker think twice about opening up.
Yeah.
So it just opens up her toolkit and makes her a bit more dangerous in the ring.
Yeah, one thing I love about this one, again, obviously, Tapology is more like a computer filtered record, so it depends who you've beaten and when you beat them and how long you've been active and stuff. So it's not a certain amount of people like the UFC rankings where you get media and you put the rankings in that way. But you can see here, it's number 23 versus number 24. These are the fights that I prefer, the fights that they're even, but they can progress you. If Hannah beats Mackenzie, not only because of Mackenzie's name, but she's beat someone on similar record to her, then she jumped maybe into a top 15 fight, maybe back to maybe the Angela Hills, etc. But Mackenzie shows that even coming off a loss, she can beat the people that's around her record, and then she jumps into the top 15 or top 20. So I am probably looking forward to that one.
I think if Mackenzie was to win this, I think she'd need another fight or two around this level if she was working on her hands just to feel more comfortable.
I think the UFC will give her that
with Hannah Cyphers, but yeah, I think Mackenzie probably need a bit more experience where she'd work on a strike and sort of try and display that side of things.
Yeah,
if emotion allows her to if she wins. But no, it'd be certainly interesting to see the way her career progresses anyway.
Definitely. The next one's very interesting. We get Caitlin Chukugian, who's just fought Valentina Shevchenko for the women's flyweight title, and she got defeated in that one by third round TKO. It's quite a dominant performance by Valentina. Probably one of the best fighters I've ever seen. Just so well-rounded. And now she goes and faces Antonina Shevchenko, which is Valentina's sister. Not on high in the rankings, but obviously same sort of style fight. I'm interested to see what happened in the background with this one, because normally you get a sibling or a teammate trying to fight someone that has just defeat your sibling or teammate, whereas in this, she's just been beaten, so it's like, is it the other way around? Is Caitlin sort of turn around like, fuck it, I'll beat your sister instead?
I don't know, like, it could be just the way that the rankings have drawn. From what I understand, Antonina's the less experienced out of the two, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a couple of years older than Valentina. She's the older sister. But yeah, she's less experienced. It's weird because they're both in the flyweight division, they're both sisters. So what is she fighting? Your main goal is to be UFC champion. So what's her, end product, if that makes sense? That's one thing that always goes through my head in the situation.
Maybe they might have asked the promoters to be like, just treat us like we're two unrelated fighters. Like, just because we're siblings, don't treat us like them, because then that could make the matchmaking very difficult.
Yeah.
So maybe they've just been like, the better fighter is going to get there first.
Yeah, true.
So be it.
I do see Valentina moving back up to bantamweight to face Nunes again at some point. Maybe not right now. I think she'll staple herself as the best flyweight in women's history. I think she'll do that first. I think she'll beat everyone. She was supposed to face Joanne Calderwood. I think it was around the next few weeks, which I think most of us in Britain will be supporting Jojo anyway. But I think if she gets through someone like Joanne, it's a great feat and probably will staple as the number one of all time in that division. But I can see Caitlin finishing Antonina here, only because of the least experience. And Caitlin is a great fighter. Just that it was different levels against Valentina. What's your thoughts, Si? There, Si?
Yeah. I don't know, like, I can see Valentina sort of dominating that division for a long time. And I can see her going back up the weight, and I can see her beating Nunes, if I'm honest with you. I think she's got the better skill set than her. but I think Nunes has her on just grit and toughness. If I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, Nunes and Valentina last fought September 17. That was a split decision, but you could tell Valentina was a bit smaller back then. Obviously, she knew that the flyweight was a right ranking. It wasn't really a flyweight division 3 years ago. I would like to see that rematched with the confidence that both of them have got. It's just very strange because Nunes is the weight above champion at featherweight as well. Obviously, she fights next week, which we'll review in a week's time anyway. But we'll move on to, where are we up to? Daniel Rodriguez and Gabriel Green. This one is strange because I reviewed this fight about a week ago, and he was supposed to be facing Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was supposed to be stepping in. He fought 2 weeks ago, Kevin Holland, and he won. And he looked very, very impressive in that fight. He beat Anthony Hernandez in the first round in 39 seconds. I know he stepped in because he felt fresh. Don't know what's happened. Something's come up. I really don't know. Or maybe because it's moved to Vegas and he's more of an East Coast guy, obviously for travel and stuff right now in America. But I've gone with, on this one, Rodriguez. Oh, no, actually, I didn't even pick a fight on this one. I'll review it right now. Sai, Gabriel Green and Rodriguez, anything you know about these two? Sai, there's a massive delay.
No, I'm not too familiar with them, but just having a quick look over their... Oh, is there, mate?
Yeah.
There's been a bit of a delay. Is it working now, mate?
No, you've crashed.
Should we pause recording? I can move location so we can...
I'll pause. A few technical issues for Simon there, but we're back. So we're reviewing UFC. So Daniel Rodriguez and Gabriel Green. I'm going here, Simon, with Daniel Rodriguez. I just quickly reviewed it while you were sorting out your modem. Rodriguez, I remember him now. He fought Tim Means earlier this year, and Tim Means definitely underestimated him and got caught and got submitted. Obviously, Tim Means is a veteran. Rodriguez looked very, very good and composed for his debut. He was only 10-1 at the time, and now he's facing Gabriel Green. Gabriel's making his UFC debut from what I can see on Tapology. He's not fought in 2 years. I just feel like even though he's higher ranked in the welterweight division, I feel like Daniel already being in there against someone like Tim Means, I feel like he will be able to put it on him and be calm and comfortable. Any thoughts?
I'm in agreement with you. Like, from the looks of it, on the surface of it, like you say, Gabriel Green's not fought in, 2 years, you say?
Yeah, August 2018, so nearly 2 years, and these were for so he's fought in Bellator once, but it's been like the lower ranks like Combate, CXF.
It feels like a bit of a replacement.
I was thinking that he was due to fight in January, but then I don't know, the bout got cancelled. So that was before lockdown, so maybe he's pulled out. I don't know, maybe mentally he's not there. Obviously, this is just maybe blowing air, this. But
yeah, like we're speculating, but it smells to me like he's been brought in last minute for this.
Yeah.
As opposed to... as opposed to being sort of fully listed and ready to go.
Yeah, he's definitely been brought in last minute because Kevin Holland was supposed to face him. That's what I was saying before we broke up, wasn't it? Kevin Holland fought 2 weeks ago, looked very good, but then he's pulled out. So this guy's definitely been brought in last minute. These cards that we're getting recently, we don't really get the full cards like 5 days before. So it's really weird to see what fights we're due to be on anyway. Tapology do keep up to date with quite a lot of it because you do see the cancel bouts, and the only cancel bout for this one was Holland and Rodriguez. But Rodriguez there, I think, gets the win on this one. Next one is interesting. Jamahal Hill, it's the surname that throws me, against Klidson Ibru. Hill has fought already this year. He's come out of the Contender Series. He beat Stosic on the same card as Cerrone and McGregor from January. He's still green, but I feel like he could probably get the win here. Do you remember this fight from that card at all, Simon?
Vaguely. like it's not one that stands out to me, but I vaguely do remember it. And the name does really ring a bell. So it's I'm looking forward to seeing this one, to be honest with you. There's like with Klidson, his records of recent hasn't been perfect.
Yeah.
But he seems to have some fairly decent wins on his record as it is.
Sorry, it wasn't the McGregor guy, it's the week after. That month just seems to be a blur right now. I feel like it will be... With this one, Brew obviously is ranked higher in the rankings. But this Hill guy, people saying he's a prospect. He could follow in the footsteps of like the John Jones in his size and the ability he's got. Maybe not to the levels of John Jones, but that's what the commentators were comparing to last time, which is a nice comparison. I think Hill takes this one probably by decision.
No, I'm in agreement with you there, mate. Like now you've sort of those anecdotes that sort of recaps the fight to my mind. He does like I can see him taking that, and I think, if I'm being honest, I think he's probably going to be a bit hungry. Yeah,
he's only 7-0, but like I say, contender series. So technically, you count that as a UFC bout right now, especially in these. If he's fought in a hardly any audience setting, and he's already fought in the Apex, and he's fighting the Apex this weekend in a next to no audience, there might be a few more people there as guests this time. That's what I feel like it'll be. That's what the AEW and the WWE have done. WWE more so this week. AEW for the last few months, they've had sort of their developmental talent as a crowd to sort of create an atmosphere, and I feel like that's what the UFC may do now. I think they'll invite maybe a couple of local fighters and teams in at social distance to create more of a crowd. It might not happen at this event, but I can see it slowly starting to come into effect. Maybe that does benefit him. The next one, I've said this a couple of times now, is interesting, but only because Tim Elliott's a veteran. He's been around. He's fought Demetrius Johnson for the belt. But he's facing a guy called Brandon Royval, who I don't really know much on. But the cool thing is, he definitely stepped in last minute for this because he's got 2 fights booked. He's got this, and then in 4 weeks, he's fighting in the Contender Series.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he's got Tim Elliott tomorrow, and then he's got Jerome Rivera in the Contender Series. So he was fighting to get a UFC spot, and then obviously the guys in the matchmaking, are probably rang around the coaches, managers, or whatever, and said, "We're looking for is this a flyweight or a bantamweight? Actually, flyweight. Yeah, so we need a flyweight. Anyone want to step up?" And Brandon's like, "Well, I'm ready. I'm fighting in a few weeks. Let's go. I'll do both," which is quite cool, and it makes me want to lean towards him. And I have gone towards Brandon on this one as a more hungry fighter, and I feel like Tim is sort of coming towards the back end of his career. Not that Tim can't finish him. Tim obviously won the Ultimate Fighter, got the shot at Demetrius Johnson, took him to decision, which was really cool. Any thoughts on it, Si?
Yeah, I'm swaying towards Brandon myself here. Like sort of opportunity. I'm sort of just favouring towards the opportunist here.
Yeah.
Quite an exciting step up for him, and considering he's booked on for the Contender Series and he's stepped in to jump at this opportunity. Quite exciting to sort of see how he makes the most of it.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, I can see it coming in there and trying to make a statement with this, being like, I deserve to be here. Don't put me onto the Contender.
Yeah, with this one, Tim's last 2 defeats. So he fought in 17, won there. Then he didn't fight for 2 years. Then he fought Davison Figueiredo, who's technically is the uncrowned flyweight champion because he beat I forgot his bloody name. It'll come back to me later. He missed weight for the flyweight title, but then beat his opponent. Because it's going to drive him mental. My mind's going completely blank. Joseph Benavidez. I knew it was B, but I couldn't think of it. So that's not a bad defeat, really. I don't think that's a bad defeat there at all against someone that was technically the uncrowned champion. Then he got beat by Askar Askarov. Now, I remember this guy, and I was doing my notes before, but I remember it because he's an Eastern European wrestler, so he's sort of the same sort of field as Khabib and stuff. Very, very strong at wrestling. Plus, he's from Serra Longo, so he's training with killers every day at that weight. So he literally just controlled the whole fight, and you could hear Serra and Longo coaching him, telling him what to do, and he was listening perfectly. So I feel like Tim Elliott had 2 hard back-to-back fights, and now he's facing someone that's very, very, very hungry. That's obviously, like you say, he's an opportunist, taking 2 fights in a month. Obviously, to see how his next one goes in a few weeks.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Still goes ahead. But yeah, I feel like the hungry fighter will take this. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tim does with his experience, but I feel like Brandon does take this.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a risky fight for Tim Elliott, this, and it could actually be the downturn, the start of the downfall, really. If he don't play it well. Like, I'm swaying towards Brandon. I can see where Tim Elliott can win it.
Yeah.
But I'm swaying more towards Brandon just because he had the gonads to take it, really.
I agree. We're on the final 2 fights, but the first 2 fights are the prelims here, so these most likely will be on Fight Pass. You got Casey Kenner and Louis Smoker. I didn't even click on that Smoker had been released from the UFC previously, and he's literally just come back a few fights. I didn't even realise that at all. Maybe that was when the UFC flyweight division sort of went quiet. But Casey Kenner and Louis Smoker, this could be a great fight at the bantamweight division. Yeah. You've got Casey coming off a loss in February against Merab Devashili, trying to pronounce that. But he's beat Bermudez, he's beat Ray Borg, and he's beaten the guy we've just been speaking about, Brandon Royval. So he's got great wins here. I feel like he'd be more hungry. Whereas in Louis Smokers, he's definitely on a downturn. He was up there close to fighting for the belt. Then went on a bad run. Ray Borg, Tim Elliott, Nicolou, then got released. Then got a good couple of wins for his record. Now he's 1-1. Now he's back. He was supposed to fight UFC London against David Grant, SPG guy from the UK. I just think Casey takes this. Casey looks more hungry. Again, this seems to be a common occurrence on this card. Someone that's more hungry, someone that is on a good winning run. Obviously, his last one was a loss, but unanimous decision. Whereas in Smoker, a bit like Elliott, might be on the downturn, and the hungry fighter might take this.
No, I'm in agreement here. Like, looking at his record, he's got some good names. Like, Kenny's beat Borg by decision. Like I say, he's beat Brandon Royval. So I think it's going to be quite an interesting one. And like you say, he said that he's fought flyweight, and this one being at bantamweight. So could this be his first bout at bantamweight, or do you reckon he fluctuates between the two?
For Smoker, he has fought bantamweight since 2018, but he was flyweight all the way before that. So I think he stepped up because the flyweight division is going quiet. Kenny? For Kenny, I think he's constantly been a bantamweight.
Oh, has it?
He's been a flyweight. He fought Brandon Royval at flyweight on LFA. So Legacy Fight Association or Fight whatever. That's merged with another organisation now, so I don't forget what the name is. But yeah, I feel like Casey takes this. More the hungry fighter, but maybe more for us. Maybe Smoker and Elliott come in as the W's on this one.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm swaying towards Casey on this one.
Yeah. Next one, so it's the last one or the first one on the fight card, you put it, is Chris Gutierrez versus Vince Morales. Don't really know too much on these two. I've gone with Chris based on his run right now. He's beat Ryan McDonald and Geraldo de Freitas in the UFC. He was in the Ultimate Fighter finale before that. Yeah, it's a pick and fight with this one. Don't really know too much on them.
Yeah, like looking at both of the records and recent wins and losses, Like, I'm probably swaying more towards Chris, just off his recent run.
Yeah.
But they've both fought guys with good records. They've not sort of cherry-picked guys with negative records. That's going to pad their career out, really. So, like, in the recent fights, they've fought some good opponents. So, swaying towards Chris, he's had better success with it. But I can see this being a bit of a sleeper fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's took Song Yudong Song to decision, and obviously he fought a couple of weeks ago. He's a massive run from Faber's camp. He fought. He beat. Is it Sahabi's younger brother? Ayman Sahabi. I'm sure that's his younger brother.
Maybe.
I know his younger brother is fighting, so I presume that's a rare name that he's beat him. So obviously that's good camp as well. That is on Morales' side. So Morales has probably got the edge on maybe opponent experience and level experience, but I think Gutierrez does take this one to round up the card. So it's not as stacked in name value as the recent UFCs have been, but I feel like there's a lot of sleeper fights on this one, and maybe a lot of future contenders and champions possibly on this card.
No, definitely. I think if you had to pick out maybe 2 fights that you're looking forward to watching the most, barring the main event, anything that sort of stands out to you?
Yes, I would say Billy Quarantine versus Spike Carlisle. I think that's probably could be fight of the night, and maybe Elliot and Royville, or Casey and Smoker. Out of them two, probably going to be a sleeper fight as well.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with Billy Quarantillo and Spike Carlisle. Well, I think I'm going to throw in the Jamahal Hill fight in there. I think
that's in a brew.
Yeah, if not a fight of the night, at least a performance or some sort of finish of the night. Coming from Jamahal, I'm quite excited to see how he comes forward with this one.
Amazing. So it's a great UFC card. I'll be watching it most of it probably live, if not all live. I tend to do that a lot at the minute, obviously with the more time and no pressure to get up early or anything. So I'm looking forward to this one. Obviously, Woodley and Gilbert Burns. This could be one of the best fights of the year. Could be a big upset as well, even though Burns can defeat someone like Woodley. But yeah, Mackenzie Dern, return of Shakugian since the title loss. Yeah, on paper, again, like we said, probably a sleeper card. But if you review it properly, yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow now. I'll try and get the weigh-ins will probably be in a couple of hours, so I'll probably be watching that. So next is more your forte, Mr. Price.
Yeah, we've got the old Submission Underground next. Like, for being honest, I wouldn't mind longer matches.
These still 5 minutes.
Yeah, these are still 5 minutes. That's the format for them. 5-minute matches with the EBI style overtime. But saying that, they do get some good performances on there. Like the last Submission on the Ground has some really great matches, and some really good performances. Like the two main matches with Craig Jones and Vagner Rocha. I'm looking forward to that. I'm a massive fan of both of them, so I'm actually struggling to pick a winner. If I had to, I'd probably sway towards Craig Jones, but I'm a bigger fan of Vagner Rocha, and I'd love to see him win that one.
Yeah, I knew this guy's name rung a bell. I don't know him from the grappling scene, but I was like, I'm sure he's fought MMA before. I'm sure he's got a pretty good record. And I'm going down, and I remember it now. June 2011, Carwin DeSantos. He fought and was beaten by Donald Cerrone by decision. Then he beat Cody McKenzie. So he's been at the top level. Bellator as well, and Strikeforce, obviously when that was acquired, and merged in 2011. That's where that makes more sense. But he's not fought in the UFC since 2012, and he's not fought MMA since 2017. Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, so he's focusing more on his grappling now.
Yeah, his only losses right now are twice to JT Torres, and then you've got Tyron Tulo.
See, JT Torres' loss is nothing to snuff your nose at. Like,
even I know that, and I'm not a diehard in the major grappling scene. I know certain names.
And Tyron Tola, again, people sleep on him because of his age, just in the same way they sleep on Nicky Ryan. But Tyron Tola is a great grappler. And when I saw him at Grapplefest, him and his brother put on fantastic displays of grappling. So loss to Ty isn't anything to snuff your nose at either.
No, it's funny you say that about Nicky Ryan, because Nicky and Ty are facing each other next week.
I cannot wait for that. Like, I'm debating getting my Flow Grappling subscription started up again just to watch that event.
I'm lucky enough to have Flow. I've had it for a few months now. I've not watched it as much as possible, much as recently.
Well, they've added an app, haven't they, as well? So it, like, for the ease of watching, they've added like a viewing app or something on is it on the Fire Stick or?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's on there. So that probably more easy to watch. I don't really like watching things on my phone unless it's a quick 2 or 3 minute video.
Same.
But back to the card anyway. You've got, like you say, Jones and Vagner.
You've got Austin Vanderford and Gabriel Treco is going to be a sleeper match as well.
I love it when MMA guys do this shit, because I feel like it brings. Also, we've seen with Austin last time, he does use his wrestling. He does play the game, like we reviewed it with Tim and stuff, and obviously Lee and that in the last few cards. But I feel like they've got more to lose, the MMA fighters. Obviously, I know it's a submission game, so I mean, only because the name of them.
No, I disagree with that one. I think, I think win or lose, they've got more to gain in the sense of they're willing to put it out there on the line. Like, yeah, it's going to be a scalp for the grappler that wins, but in the grand scheme of things, it's keeps them active. And if their main focus isn't grappling but MMA, then it brings their skill set to another audience. So I think if we're looking at it business-wise and branding-wise, it's a great move for the MMA guys to get involved in these.
Yeah, I agree.
Because for me, I don't know of Austin Vanderford as an MMA guy. I only know him from what I've seen on grappling. So
yeah, I agree with that.
It brings their skill set to another audience. Like, I might not have liked the way that he won the last match, dodging little shit, but it brings them to a new audience, and I'm excited to see the Gabriel Checo and the Vanderford match. There's another match on here as well, Jake Shields and Brent Primus, or Primus, however you want to say it.
Brent Primus, yeah. So he is the former Bellator lightweight champion. It was quite controversial how he won the belt. Basically, in the fight, he was facing Michael Chandler in 2017. Michael got an ankle injury in the first round. I think he threw a kick, and his ankle sort of went a bit weak, and he couldn't stand on it. So the referee called the bout to declare champion, which, hey, you've got to be in it to win it. But then he was beat by Chandler next. So he's a former MMA champion. He's beat Tim Wilde, Chris Bungard on the recent Bellators. I think they're on the European series. But obviously, Jake Shields, everyone knows who Mr. Shields is, what he can do. He's probably one of the highest level MMA grapplers in the world, bar none. He's probably in the top 3 with Damian Maia and maybe a couple others. How do you see it going?
From being brutally honest, like, I never really watched Jake Shields' career or following that much when he was in MMA. And from what I've seen on the grappling scene and the submission grappling scene, he doesn't blow me away.
I don't think he's ever blew anyone away. Fitch effect, if that makes it, if you've been fitched, like that John Fitch sort of slow, grindy pace that doesn't really blow you away.
No, I understand that, and I do appreciate that style. Just the matches that I've seen him in, I've not seen anything stand out-ish. Considering the room that he's in for training, I'd probably expected a bit more of a finishing, more finishes from him. I can see Brent taking this, for my honest with you. Just looking at his record, he's got a few submissions on his record where quite interesting submissions. So I think Brent fancies himself, and I think Brent's the one to watch for this one.
Yeah, obviously his last 2 losses, Jake, is Gilbert Burns and Richie Martinez. Obviously, Richie, you remember from one of the cards we recently reviewed. I'm going to go with Jake on this one, only because of the grinding experience, and I think he'll be able to nullify someone like Primus. But who have you got? Who are you picking on, Rocha and Jones? Sorry, did you say?
One of them ones. My head's saying Jones, but the fanboy inside me is wanting Rocha to win this. But the setup and the rule set favours Jones.
Is that your call, Jones?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jones on this one.
What about Van der Voorden and Checo?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Checo. Because I don't think Checo's going to pull guard and wait for him to come down. I think he's going to take hold of him and control him. Like, he's not going to play the waiting game like Martinez did. And if he does, do that, it's Van der Voorden's match. But Checo, I think, takes this.
Yeah, I agree with Jones. Like you said, I agree with Checo as well. I remember him, the reverse triangle he got on his last bout, was it about a month ago? Very, very calmly done against Ellenberger. So I'm looking forward to that one. There's obviously the few bouts in here that probably you don't even know, like Alexander and Holly. Do you know much on them? So we'll skip.
The Andrew Alexander lost to Krellenstein in the last one. Via rear naked choke.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yes, I remember
that. And the other lad, Jordan Holly, or Holy, however you want to say it, he's got a few submission wins against some fairly good guys. So I think I'm going to sway towards Jordan Holy for that match.
Yeah, I think I will go against that just to play devil's advocate. I'll go with Alexander. So you're going Holy, I'm going Alexander. Then obviously we talked about Primus and Shields. You're going Primus, did you say?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Primus on this one.
And then, again, these two that I'm not aware of. Do you know of these, Maximov and Fugit?
I'm not familiar. Maximov was on the last sub card. And what's his name? Fugit, whatever he's called. He's got some impressive wins in his MMA career.
Is that the one, the Joe Blaze one, where it's like a really quick heel hook?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, the more of an MMA guy is.
So I think I'm going to sway towards. I'm going to go with Maximov on this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. This Fugit has been beaten by Austin in MMA more than the careers. Yeah, I think I agree with the Maximov. What else have we got next?
Tobias Baker next.
It's Tobias Baker and Charles Gilpin.
Yeah.
Any information for the guys on this one?
Gilpin seems to be more the grappler. He's got an amateur MMA career, but there's no professional career in there. So I'm gonna probably say the odds favour Baker for this for experience, but I'm gonna go towards Gilpin on this one.
Nice. So Gilpin for you. I'm going to say it's a difficult one. This one, I agree. This could be like this is probably the pick and fight of this. I'm going to say Baker just to be opposite.
Not fair.
The next one is a fight that I actually like. I know both of these guys from the MMA scene. More obviously Ryan Healer. Brian Euro do recognise the name of just through social media and stuff. I'm leaning more towards Ryan Healer due to his overall experience in Bellator and the fights before that. and WEC days. He's been around for nearly 2 decades. I think he'll have the durability. Whereas in Brian is coming off a couple of losses, obviously in the MMA side, both decisions. He's not really got many submissions. I think he's got 2, maybe 3. Ryan seems to have quite a bit more on that. What do you think?
I'm the same. I'm swaying towards Ryan Healy from experience, but we kind of both know that doesn't always pan out.
Yeah, especially from the UFC review we just did.
Yeah. And this guy seems to have a few sort of grappling-oriented wins in his record.
Yeah.
So he's lost his last couple towards last year and the year before. But do you know what? Just to play devil's advocate, I'm going to go on Brian Euro.
I was literally about to say that, but screw it, I'll stay with Healy. The next one is the penultimate of what we're reviewing on this card is Chris Lencioni. I know how to pronounce this, but I can't say it. He's fought in Bellator. He's quite a character. He's like 4-3 and 2, 4-2. Yeah, and he's Joseph McKay.
Yeah. I'm going Lencioni on this one. Like going off his last performance at the on the last Submission Underground.
Yeah,
I'm really favouring towards him. Really composed, really calm. Joseph McKay's got a real lack of experience here.
Amateur fighter starting the grappling scene, or the pro grappling scene, as you call it. I agree with that.
I think between Van der Voort, Checo, and Lencioni McKay, I think they're going to be the 2 performances to watch. And I can see Lencioni possibly having performance of the night.
No, I agree with this one. I think, Lencioni, I think he does pull this one out. I'm excited because I think he's definitely a character to watch. He might piss up a few people off, but he does get the job done. He's a great all-round fighter, so I agree with this one. Last one on the card is Roberto Jimenez versus Don Stoner. Just looking at Roberto, I don't know any of these names. Roberto's record, he is quite active with sort of a 50-50 record. He's fought Keenan, Lucas Barboza, Gabriel Almeida. He's fought on good cards, Fight 2, Substars, Who's Number 1, ADCC. Do you know any of these 2?
I recognise the name Roberto Jimenez. Don Stone, not so much. I am swaying
towards the last 2 cards.
Pardon?
Don's fought on the last 2 sub cards.
Yeah, I could saw that on his record there, but if I'm honest, he's not standing out to me. Like putting a face to the name.
Yeah, so I'm leaning towards Jimenez.
Yeah, I think experience is going to take this one, and Jimenez has got a few more performances against some bigger names.
No, that's what swayed me on this one. Beating Cornelius by points, which is probably one of Keenan's rare losses in a long time. I know he's been not as active. Well, last time he was active was February, so I feel like beating someone like Keenan, you're definitely of a level, of a caliber that would probably defeat most of the world. Maybe.
Yeah, but it's also as well like the guys that he's come against and he's put it up against, and the cards he's been on. So like he was on a Poirier and Sonnen card. Fight to Win's a tough card to get onto. Like it's invite only.
Yeah.
Spider, and coming against Keenan Cornelius, like I don't really hold much weight in decision wins, especially when it comes via points. Just as you can get 2 points up, clamp down, and not do nothing, which tends to be the case with a lot of grappling matches. But at the end of the day, it's an impressive name on your record.
Of course it is. Just looking at, obviously, Topology were put on as well, the cancelled and fizzled out bouts. Obviously, when we were talking about this a month ago, it was Lovato Jr. and Jones as a possibility. That would have been a great fight. That fizzled out. It didn't even get confirmed.
Just me that way, if I'm honest with you.
Pardon?
Doesn't really interest me, that one, if I'm honest with you.
I'd love to have seen it just because obviously we can't see Lovato Jr. in MMA at the minute. To see him keep active and keep mentally strong. So I know that's probably hard if you have to sort of retire in this sport, in any sport really. But one that was put on the card and then cancelled was Chiesa and Primus. Obviously, Shields will take Chiesa's position. I wouldn't mind that fight over the Shields Primus fight.
I'd have preferred that one, to be honest with you.
Chiesa is, I think, coming into his own more recently. He stepped up a weight division in the UFC to the welterweight division. I feel like he could put a lot of people in bad positions, especially in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, Kevin Lee and Chiesa's obviously controversial fight, and that's sort of where he sort of took a downturn. But yeah, maybe we see Chiesa on the next card. And what thing I loved, and I hope he does it in this one again, is sort of the Chael Sonnen. It goes back to him, and he sort of talked about what he's going to do and who he's talking to and who he's been texting during the event.
I really enjoyed that. Like, I'm debating. Like, I'm not one to stay up for fights, if I'm honest with you. I'm more of I get up the next morning and watch it with a coffee, which I'll probably do for the UFC card. But I'm really debating staying up for the Submission Underground card.
If I can do two nights in a row, I'd gladly do it. Maybe I'll be with a flip of you. I'll watch UFC live, and then I'll have it with some breakfast the next one for Submission Underground. But a same question to you, Si. This is more your fault, as you said. What are your two sort of sleeper fights bar the main event on this one?
Do you know what? I'm going to go with... I can see the Lencioni fight being a good fight, but I don't really think that's a sleeper fight.
Yeah.
If I'm honest with you.
Maybe not sleeper, then what do you think will be fight the night's bar the main event?
Lencioni and I'll probably say Vanderford and Checo. They're the two that other than the main event, that I'm looking forward to watching. And now the more we've looked into a few of the others, like I wouldn't mind seeing the Fugit and Maximov fight. Primus and Jake Shields. Looking forward to seeing it more so on how Primus deals with Jake Shields' pressure and whether Jake Shields tries anything new. Like I said, the perfect record in grappling doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So I'd rather see Jake Shields go out there and play and have fun. Which be interesting to see, but I'd like. So I'm interested to watch that one, just to sort of see how Primus deals with the pressure.
Yeah, my two fights, obviously bar the main event, and probably co-main event as well, because obviously the good names there. I'm probably going to go with, like you say, Maximov and Fugit, and also Neuro and Healer. I think they could be great bouts. I am interested more than anyone probably to see Lencioni again, just his attitude, the way he the way he goes about things, and obviously he's got a great grappling skills as well. But yeah, I think it's not a bad card at all. More names that I know on this occasion, which I like. Well, I think it's quite MMA heavy, which it's Chael Sonnen, it's in a cage. It's going to be most likely. I think out of the top, 6 or 7 fighters, it's only Jones that's not fought in MMA, which is 8 fighters. No, I think Maximov and Jones. Has Maximov fought in MMA? Let's have a look at that quickly.
I think he has.
Yes, he has.
Okay.
3-0. So I think it's Jones got the first sort of 10 fights, and obviously you go into the undercard, which had a few that hadn't, or maybe an amateur record. So it is interesting to see how these guys get on in Craig Jones's world, but in their home of a cage, which that's one thing I definitely do like, and something I'll be interested in doing myself in the future. Maybe a style of this.
I think it's great what Sonnen's trying to do with this, because he's trying to bring two worlds together that are side by side, but very rarely mix.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that he's doing this, because some of the names like the Jake Shields, the Checos, the Vanderfords are going to bring the MMA fans in.
Yeah.
And having Jones and Rocha headline the cards going to bring the grappling fans in, and they're both fans are going to see new people that they might not have followed before, as well as experience a new aspect of the sport they might not have seen before.
No, I agree with that. I don't really follow the main grappling stuff on Flow, and because there's so much of it to watch, and I watch so much, as everyone sort of knows, wrestling geek, MMA, football. It's hard to keep up with everything, but I do keep an eye on these sort of cards. I do keep an eye on Craig Jones, because I do enjoy watching what they do, more because it's like he's a non-title holder champion, if that makes sense, because of who he is and his name. A lot of people want to see what challenges he takes on to test himself and prove himself. But I don't feel like most champions are like where you get like a John Jones who's a bit of a dick. You just want to see him get beat. Or you see a champion like Georges St. Pierre who was so dominant for so long, you just want to see him get beat because you want something fresh. I don't feel that with Craig Jones. I'm happy for him to keep on winning because he doesn't come across like a dick. Yeah.
Such a lovely guy. Like, there's a story, like when he was at the last Grappling Fest event. Like I said, I competed on the same card, and I was backstage after the show, and he was taking pictures. He had plenty of time for everyone, and one of the lads that come up with me to the event, absolutely steaming, was trying to get Craig Jones to come out on a night out with him and give him his leather jacket. Honestly, one of the funniest things I'd seen. And like that memory is like stuck with me, and I'm pretty sure like Craig will probably remember it as well. It's just sort of become an inside joke, but he's such a lovely guy, and like just the way he carried himself.
Was it Dan?
No. We'll leave the names out for it. Dan wasn't there.
I was going to say I could put that story to him quite easily. So yeah, I agree. Craig Jones, amazing guy. Obviously, he's more so. But both sponsored by Barefoot, so that's a quick connection. Obviously, he's elite. Obviously, my events are James, James and Sammy run obviously Progress, and Barefoot talk so highly of him. Chris Thompson speaks so highly of him at Grapple Fest. So when you've got someone that's probably easy to deal with, great grappler, and is not a dick, it's easy to want them to win, even though they keep on winning. Obviously, he's got a couple of losses in his record, but against the best ever, and he's probably one of the best ever as well. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to this card more than normal. I look forward to see Mr. Jones against Vagner. So we'll see how that goes. We'll quickly round up, because I know you, again, like last week, you've got a class at 12, so we've got a couple of minutes. Anything on your radar that's been happening this time that you wanted to speak about?
Nothing too crazy on my radar at the moment. I'm just sort of keeping an eye out more so on like the news for when we can get back to training, because they've allowed elite athletes now to train contact sports together.
Shall I sign you to an Empire Elite contract so you can start?
Just get on it, mate. Get on it. But yeah, like it's a step in the right direction, and I'm excited to sort of see. Like, I'd love for us to be able to train in small, even if it's like doing contact sports in small groups.
Yeah. By
July, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that they will, in like gym settings, I think gyms will open before martial arts. It'll be very, very difficult to, because obviously we'll be on the government's radar, jiu-jitsu and MMA, but not as much as like gyms, like your pure gyms, your 24-hour, whatever the other, there's more gyms than that. But I feel like they will open first with boundaries.
But they'll be the test drives.
Pardon?
There'll be the test drives to see how it works.
Yeah, I see a question that people, I laugh at some of the questions that get put on, that the government do something and then the media then ask another question. So it's like they build into it. So they'll say, when are you going to let kids go back to school? They need school. Okay, we'll let them go back on June 1st. But it's not safe, so why are you doing it? So it's like, well, they're just asking a negative question on something they've already asked. And that's what I see happens. So, like, it's like, oh, we're going to start opening things back up. Oh, no, when are you going to start opening things back up? Okay, well, start opening non-essential shops on June 15th. Yeah, but the 2 meter rule makes no sense. The World Health Organization says 1 meter. Yeah, but it's not like World Health Organization saying 2 meters and we're saying 1. That would be horrific. They're doing it even safer, but they're getting slagged off for it. It makes no sense.
The media dwells on negativity. And like I said, they're going to find any way to make a bad situation out of a good situation. Like for me, things opening back up and being allowed to meet with more people outside of your household is a step in the right direction. Yet there's still going to be some negativity out there from people thinking it's too much and too soon.
Yeah.
Now, if you're uneasy about it, make an educated decision as an adult to still self-isolate. It's that simple.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. If you don't feel comfortable, you just carry on what you've been told. You by opening things up, that's not forcing you to go out.
No.
It's more you being forced to stay in. That was an original problem. The point the government are trying to make is it should still your position. People seem to be more annoyed. It's weird. There's a vast majority like us which are like happy that things are reopening and willing to just get back into it no matter what it may be. You've got a percentage that don't want it to happen, don't want it to be eased. And then you've got a percentage that are like, yes, we want it to be open, but if you tell me to self-isolate for 14 days because I might have come in contact with someone, I'm not fucking doing that. It's like...
Can't win.
They're never going to say you have to, like, it's government, it's a law, because they don't want to force, there'll be more backlash to that. They're going to say, it's our advice for you to stay in for 14 days. You're going to be checked up. If you're not, then there will be charges. But it's not just aimed at that person. It's to save other people. Now, if the worst thing for me, and probably for you as well, running businesses when things do open back up, is to go back into lockdown because it's resetting, is to get a message from Track and Trace to go, Jake, you need to self-isolate 14 days, and I'm 7 days away from an event. I'll be fucked. Same with you. Simon, you need to self-isolate for 14 days. You might come in contact with someone, but who's going to teach your classes when they reopen? It could be like that for years.
Yeah.
But that's one of them. Well, more positive note, like I said at the beginning, I'm happy football is getting more prominent. Bundesliga, it was Dortmund v Bayern Munich on Tuesday. I enjoyed that. Premier League is back. That should create a bit more normality. I can't think of anything else. Tennis is getting put back in July.
Oh, mega.
F1.
Back soon as well. I'm actually, that's one thing I really miss.
Say again?
Cinema. I really, really enjoy going for a film, whether it's with Nicole or just going on my own sometimes. Yeah. There's nothing I love more than going cinema, switching my phone off for 2 hours and just enjoying a film.
In January, me and Catherine signed up to the Odeon Limitless. I had it a few years ago.
Got the same for Cineworld.
The only reason I don't like Cineworld is because they do awful nachos, and I'm a massive fan of nachos. I can't go to the cinema without the Odeon nachos. Say it.
I quite like the nachos at Cineworld, but
the dips.
I'm coming away from trying to eat cinema food.
Oh, I can't help it. You can tell the difference if you look at both of us. That's the reason. I'm mentally less strong than you. I just love the hot cheese. The nacho cheese. Whereas in Cineworld, have it cold.
I'm also watering now saying that. But like I'm one of them. Like because I get like a skin reaction when I've been eating dairy recently.
Oh right, okay.
So I've nipped it in the bud. Like I'll have little bits when I have like a little bit of chocolate, but cheese is like the toughest thing for me to give up. So saying that nacho cheese, man, I'm like.
Well, there's some delights for people to think about, because I know Simon's got to go off for a couple of minutes. Hopefully things get back to normal. We're here bi-weekly anyway, Tuesday and Friday. We've got a great guest coming up on Tuesday. Obviously, we had Chael Chaplin a couple of weeks ago, the MC for Cage Warriors, and we talked about one of his close friends in Jack Shaw in the UFC. We was contacted by Jack's dad, Richard, who's obviously Shaw Martial Arts Academy, one of the best coaches in the UK and definitely Wales. So Richard Shaw will be on Tuesday. Be great insight to see, as a father and as a coach, him bringing someone up into the UFC, how he sees mixed martial arts in the UK. Say, Simon?
Even as a businessman as well, like during this time of the year, as well as like how involved he's been with his son's career on the business aspect. It'd be quite interesting to get like the full circle of it.
Yeah, so that's interesting for Tuesday. So thanks for listening and watching, guys. I've been Jake Cross. He's been Mr. Simon High Price. We will see you on Tuesday. Enjoy the events this weekend, and then if you've got any questions or want to be a guest or anything, hit us up and we'll shoot straight back.
Definitely. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. Peace.